Basically, she was managing a few of the ladies that work in this red light area around here, and she spoke amazing English and was happy to share a bit of knowledge about this area. So today we're going to be taking a look around a slum area here in Japan, and that's a weird thing to say because when you think of Japan, slums aren't the first thing to come to mind. So if you see my videos before, you'll know I've traveled around slums and squatter areas and developing areas around Thailand and the Philippines, but now that I'm here in Japan and I've found one here, it's quite a unique experience. Come check it out. So this particular slum is in Osaka on the outskirts of a red light district, and it's quite a unique area, and the reason it's classified as a slum is also quite an interesting story which I'll share with you throughout this video. But for now, let's take a walk around here and check this place out. So I was chatting to a lady here and getting a bit of information about this place. She was incredibly helpful. So she was a pimp, a mama-san, that's a better word. Basically, she was managing a few of the ladies that work in this red light area around here. And she spoke amazing English and was happy to share a bit of knowledge about this area. So being that this is on the outskirts of a red light district, a lot of it was an undesirable neighborhood for people to live. It's kind of an older neighborhood, and because of that, it hasn't really been developed all that much. And a lot of the places here were sort of getting old and run down, and they've become condemned and not able for people to live in there. But what has been happening because of that is people without a home, homeless people, have been sort of squatting in these places. Now, the majority of them are sort of falling down or falling apart. They're older places. They don't have electricity. She said some people have gotten quite creative and managed to sort of wire themselves electricity, but for the most part, they don't have it. They're just essentially homeless people living inside a house. I asked about crime in this area, and she said it's not really a big deal. You know, a lot of people associate poverty with crime, but she said it's not the case here. You know, walking around, I've seen a lot of the bikes are just sitting out. They're not all locked up, so things don't seem to get stolen here. She said it's a safe neighborhood to walk around. I don't need to be concerned at all walking around here, which doesn't really surprise me. But this is a really fascinating area because there is quite a mix of quite nice places and, you know, nice cars and nice houses and shops, restaurants, bars, things like that here. But then there's also these older condemned places that are becoming like a squatter slum type area. So just behind me here is an example of one of those houses that is condemned, and there's actually someone living in here. You can see, I'm not going to film, I don't want to show that, but you can see there are people actually squatting in here. If you look, the top level looks like it's all sort of falling apart basically, so it's obviously not a safe house to live in, yet out of necessity, people are still living here. Now, for the most part, this is actually quite a nice neighborhood, and like any typical neighborhood here in Japan, this is a daycare center behind me here. You've got restaurants, shops, different shops all along here. The vast majority of the places here are quite nice. You've got normal nice cars parked all down the street. It's only a very, very small percentage of these houses that are condemned or no one's in them, and that's what gives this place the classification of being a slum. So here in this street we have some more examples of some houses that are kind of falling apart, to be honest. They're all mostly made of wood, and it seems like the wood's rotting, and the places, you know, the little balcony things are falling down, and this little awning ledge thing's falling down. So hard to say if anyone lives in some of these. This one looks like people might be living in here. It's got trash out the front. Other ones are quite nice. This one's got flowers and plants out the front. They got a bike out the front. But then you're sort of opposite an empty lot here, and yeah, it just sort of continues on around here. Now, one thing that you'll notice here that you don't really notice anywhere else in Japan is that there's trash all over the place. So in Japan, they flat out, they don't litter. You just do not see. I've been here for nearly 3 weeks now, and you just don't see trash. Actually, the one time I did see trash, I saw a coffee cup on the ground. This lady just picked it up and she took it with her. So it's interesting to see this here in such a clean city, in such a clean country. So while this place may not look as rough and run down as typical slums that you would expect to see all across the world, one thing you need to keep in mind is that Japan is one of the most developed countries in the world, and especially in this city, we're right in the heart of Osaka. This is an incredibly developed and modern city, so for this standard of living, it's just below what's the normal here, so it's not as harsh as you would get in other countries, but for here in Japan, and here in Osaka in particular, this is, I guess, a rundown area. So just nearby is like a little old kind of shopping district, I guess, which is about, I would say about 70% abandoned. The other 30% is a mixture of little shops and karaoke bars and some girly bars, and then there's a butcher here. All sorts of random shops, but the majority of it is actually closed. Something to point out is that not all of the houses in this area are like this. This one here is sort of, as I said, it's condemned, it's falling down and doesn't look very good. But then if you look just a couple of houses down, there's actually some really nice places along here. And you know, it's not that everyone here is poor. You can see there's motorbikes along here. People leave their bicycles out. They don't get stolen or anything like that. They're not locked up, they're just sitting here. But it's not all places like that one down there. I mean, these ones are quite nice. Now, I don't want to paint this place in too much of a negative light, you know, while there are those people squatting in the houses like I've shown you, there's a lot of really nice places here and some nice cars and friendly people walking around. So I haven't had that many encounters with people here, which is surprising because it's a weekend. I expected more people to be out and about, but all the encounters I have had have all been really positive. People are friendly and they smile at me as they walk past, and I haven't felt at all uncomfortable or intimidated in here at all. Hello. Like that.